the industry has largely celebrated victories of pro-crypto candidates nationwide, but others have questioned whether the millions that crypto poured into the 2024 election did more harm than good. Dennis Kelleher, a CEO of Better Markets, wrote an op-ed after the election where he criticized what he called a bait and switch by the industry, flooding markets with ads that don't mention crypto to support candidates that will be friendly on policy. And this comes as recent polling shows most Americans have a negative view of the technology. Crypto World's Brandon Gomez spoke to Kelleher about his post-election views and the industry's growing influence in politics.
Dennis, I know you had this op-ed in the San Francisco Chronicle. We had spoken previously to an op-ed you had written to the Kamala Harris administration advising her not to cater to the crypto trade. But in this one, you say what the crypto industry didn't say in its deceptive and effective campaign ads. I'd pull out a couple points. Most Americans, you say, don't actually like or use crypto. Crypto knew this and funneled money into ads that didn't even mention the crypto industry. And to that point, you say crypto shouldn't even be a priority when it comes to what Washington does under this new administration. I mean, can you lay out a few of your thesis points beyond that? And if you really do feel that DC is going to prioritize crypto in its next administration?
Well, sure. Look, I think one of the most important things to understand is that the crypto industry's entire 2024 campaign strategy was fundamentally deceptive. It really was a classic bait and switch and a fraud on the public. Depending upon which report is right, the crypto industry spent somewhere between $100 and $200 million on campaign ads in an effort to elect candidates who support their special interest agenda or defeat those who didn't. And it's telling because they spent that money on Democrats and Republicans. And now you've got a lot of elected officials who are in office that crypto spent a lot of money on. And they're running around saying that they've got a mandate for their special interest agenda. But there's one problem, and that's there's no mandate because the American people don't like or use crypto. And nothing about this election changes that. And let me just run through a few quick facts. When you say, I don't like crypto or I didn't like things going on, it's not liking or disliking, it's facts. There's a CNBC poll from late 2022 that found that just 8% of Americans had a positive view of crypto. In 2024, there was a Harris poll that found that 69% of likely voters in swing states, this is a 2024 poll, 69% of likely voters in swing states held a negative view of crypto. Now, the industry claims that 52 Americans own crypto, but that's only based on a deceptive poll that the industry paid for. The actual figure, according to the Federal Reserve survey data, is closer to 8 million Americans out of more than 300 million, and that number is declining. Moreover, of those who own crypto, just 1% used it in 2023 to buy something, which actually is down from 2% from the prior year. And of course, that's not a surprise because you can't really buy anything with crypto. Now, interestingly, just last week, right, we're talking about current information here and data. Just last week, the FDIC issued a report of a survey of American households, which for the first time asked about digital assets. And it found that just 4.8% of U.S. households used or owned crypto. So by any measure, crypto is a very niche product. It's almost used by no one, and it's disliked, disfavored, and has a negative view of a supermajority of the American people. Now, the election results don't change those facts, and the crypto industry's actions actually prove how disliked how disliked crypto is by the American people. Because instead of focusing their political ads on crypto, the industry funneled all their money through into the campaigns through so-called super PACs, which had these generic names like Fair Shake, Defend American Jobs, and Protect Progress. And what did they do? They produced equally generic political ads that literally never mentioned crypto.
Well, and I want to dig into that further too, because the industry presumably this influence, this massive amount of money that was poured into this election cycle. I mean, it seems like the industry is going to continue to invest in these types of campaigns, regardless of whether they mention the crypto industry or they sort of, again, hide behind this sort of crypto label, but they're in fact pushing other agenda issues. Where do you sort of see that momentum building in terms of regulation, right? Regulation of the industry. There's an appetite for regulation of crypto. Do you see that changing going forward?
Well, no, I don't. But the important thing is that you've got the crypto industry lording around Washington, D.C., saying to politicians, you should enact our special agenda. You got elected because we spent money on you. And it's true, they spent money on them, but there's no mandate from the American people for anybody in Washington do anything regarding crypto because crypto was not on the ballot. Think about this. They spent between $100 and $200 million on campaign ads that said things like defend American jobs, don't send jobs overseas, America should be competitive. And now they're turning around and telling politicians that they have a mandate and they should enact crypto special interest legislation, when if anything, those politicians have a mandate to enact very generic, non-crypto topics that all Americans appreciate. So the question is whether or not politicians in Washington are going to fall in line with the fake crypto agenda, or whether or not they're going to put the American public's issues at the top of the agenda. And if you look at every single poll of the American people, you look at the top 10, the top 20, the top 50 concerns of the American people, crypto is nowhere to be found. Digital assets, nowhere to be found. So they're going to try and use their money, and they're going to try and use this election in a bait and switch tactic to try and get people to do things that the American people don't want them to do.
And I want to ask you about a couple of those campaigns because crypto, played a significant role outside of the presidential campaign too, right? We've been talking about VP Harris, we've been talking about President-elect Donald Trump's platforms in the crypto space, but also you have to talk about Bernie Moreno's Senate race in Ohio, taking that seat from Sherrod Brown, a long Democratic holdout, turning Republican this cycle, and crypto really played a large part there. So the question is, how critical was that race in your view, and were there other election races similar to that where pro-crypto backed candidates or seemingly pro-crypto backed candidates overturned seats?
Well, we think we need to be precise here. Crypto did not play a big role in the Ohio election. Crypto money did. And I'll give you an example. One of the big crypto super PACs called the Cedar Innovation Fund spent a ton of money in Ohio to defeat Sherrod Brown. And the ads it ran implored him, are you ready for this, to not let the chair of the SEC send jobs overseas. And all these other generic, kind of homespun things that 99% of the American people agree on. But not one of the ads mentioned crypto. So yes, crypto money was important in helping certain candidates and defeating other candidates, but the issue of crypto was never on the ballot anywhere. Think about this. It would be as if the Ford Motor Company spent $200 million on ads and never mentioned cars. Okay, it's astonishing. It's so brazen what they're doing here. And so the issue is whether or not, the crypto money, the crypto billionaires' money, is going to buy special interest legislation, or whether or not the people who are in Congress are going to say there's no crypto mandate. All the facts, data, and polls show that. And the crypto industry's own advertising campaign is a de facto admission that the American people don't support crypto.
So I'll leave us on this question, which for you, what is your best case and your worst case scenario when it comes to crypto in the next administration, the next 4 years?
The best case that's foreseeable under the current circumstances is that crypto does in fact get some modest amount of regulation that includes transparency, that includes oversight and accountability, and it has substantial investor, customer, and financial stability protections. That's the best case. It's not likely. What's likely is the worst case, which is that a bunch of crypto political allies are going to enact the appearance of regulation without the reality of regulation that's going to cause many, many more investor and customer victims, and unfortunately is going to undermine financial stability that will ultimately contribute to the next financial crash in a way that's avoidable and unnecessary, but given the current climate and the current crypto cash, probably the most likely outcome.
All right, before we go, one last point on crypto's potential influence on politics in 2025 and beyond. Sources have told NBC News that Howard Lutnick, the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald and a backer of both Bitcoin and the stablecoin Tether, has been tapped by President-elect Trump as Commerce Secretary. An official for Trump's transition did not immediately respond to a request for comment, but check back at CNBC.com for more. That's all for Crypto World today. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.